नमस्कार दोस्तों, जैसा कि आप जानते हैं हम रेगुलरली एवरी वीक आपके लिए लाइव प्रोग्राम हेलो इग्नू लेकर के आते हैं, जो कि स्टूडेंट सपोर्ट सर्विसेज का प्रोग्राम है। इसमें आप अलग अलग प्रोग्राम्स के बारे में, साथ ही साथ जो स्टूडेंट सपोर्ट सर्विसेज अवेलेबल है इग्नू में, उसके बारे में आपको जानकारी दी जाती है। So today we have with us Dr. P.V. Suresh, who is the director of the School of Social Sciences, and Dr. Akshay Kumar, who is also the program coordinator of MCA IGNOU. So let us start with the program. Welcome, sir, and we would like to start from you. Akshay, sir, please.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Akshay Kumar, and I'm working in School of Computer and Information Sciences. Along with Professor P.V. Suresh, who is Director of School of Computer and Information Sciences, we'll be talking about various programs of School of Computer and Information Sciences. In fact, the School of Computer and Information Sciences started in 1991, and since then we have launched various programs. And what programs are on offer today, or at present, that is what we would be discussing. So without any ado, let's talk about our first program. Now, we are starting from the certificate programs till the master's program, because our schools have program at every level. And in fact, we have PhD program also, but for PhD program, we will be talking separately. Most of these programs which is discussing today are offered in the open and distance learning mode. And some of these programs are also offered onto the online mode. However, our focus will be online and distance learning mode only. So let's talk about the first course, a program in this particular category, Certificate in Information Technologies. So whenever you have any contact point, right, whenever you are trying to talk about a point or a certificate program, the very first thing comes, how do we know about this particular program? So if you want to know more detail about this program, the first thing is that you should find out from the common prospectus which is given on the IGNOU website. We will be talking about the place where this particular information is available. However, the second contact point is the email ID. So the email ID for CIC program is going to be cic@ignou.ac.in. This CIT, the eligibility condition for CIT program happens to be the 10th standard or SSC or matriculation or IGNOU BPP or equivalent program or DLC from Microsoft Corporation. So this is, technically speaking, this particular program can be joined by anybody who at least have done 12th and anybody who's above that. But some of these qualifications, 10th standard, etc., are also allowed with some certifications. Then the program, this certificate in information technology is primarily meant to give you basic information about what exactly computer science is all about and how this particular computer science technology can be utilized, or information technology can be utilized in various aspects of day-to-day life. So this particular program basically makes you aware of IT and its technologies which are there, which are commonly available to you, and you can refer and you can actually use those technologies in your day-to-day application. And that is how it's the program structure of CIT program. So it basically first talks about one of the major tool of major tool of IT infrastructure, which happens to be the computer. So first, CIT 1 talks about fundamental of computer systems, where all the details like what a computer system is, what are its components, how does it work, how do the instructions get executed. If you are talking about hardware, what are the different components of the computer hardware, and so on and so forth are discussed. Then the next course is about the introduction to information technology. Now, this particular course talks about various aspects of information technology like management information system, e-commerce, and various application of information technology and its tools. Right, so then it beautifully gels that you talk about computer system, then you talk about the information technology, and then you talk about one of the major application of information technology in the form of web-based technology and multimedia applications. So that way, these three theory courses, each of these three courses are of 4 credits each, and it is supported by laboratory course of 6 credits. Now, this laboratory course is a very important course because this laboratory course will give you insight of what actually you can do with the help of a computer. So it talks about various tools like web-based technology tools and the basic office-oriented tools and so on and so forth. So it gives you hands-on exposure to that. Now, there are a number of counseling sessions which support this particular CIT program, where we are giving you 19 theory counseling sessions, 19 theory counseling sessions of 2 hours each, and there are around 18 practical counseling sessions, which basically gives you hands-on training. And 70% of attendance in general in practical lab section is compulsory in most of our programs. So that is why we have included. However, in MC and other programs, you will find 75% attendance is compulsory. So this is in a nutshell what CIT program is all about. Now I request Professor P.V. Suresh to talk about CMAT program.
Thank you very much, Dr. Akshay, and also thank you very much, Dr. Abhimanyu, for today's Hello IGNOU session. Now I'll be briefing you about the certificate program on mobile applications development. Basically, we are targeting those people who wants to understand about the mobile app, how an app is developed, how it is developed for different platforms such as Android, iOS, and other operating systems, how to develop mobile apps for cross-platforms. Means that you develop one mobile app, it runs on Android, it runs on iOS, and any other operating system preferably. So in this particular program, we have 5 courses. However, before going into them, let me tell you the objectives of this program. One very important thing is that anybody who wants to take admission to this particular program, it's better that they know the Java programming language, because if you don't know the Java programming language, it will be difficult for you to learn the programming languages that enable you to develop the mobile apps. This was very much clearly mentioned in the prospectus as well as in the program information portion on the admission portal. The objectives of this particular program, that is certificate in mobile application development, are that you should be able to understand the requirements for the development of mobile applications for various purposes. You should be able to analyze the architecture of Android operating system. Then you should be in a position to design, implement, and test a database for the user requirements, because any mobile app normally ultimately connects to a database. Okay, most of the apps, they connect to the database system. So you should be in a position to design in such a way that even the app can connect to huge databases and can give you information on your mobile device. Develop mobile apps using Android. So in Android, we have what is called Android Studio. It is a development environment for developing mobile apps for the Android environment. So we'll be telling you how to develop mobile apps using the Android Studio. Then develop mobile apps using Python. Python is a programming language, one of the programming languages that can be used to develop the mobile apps. So there are certain tools in Python. Those tools you will be learn and you will be enabled to develop the apps. Then use integrated development environments such as Android Studio, which I earlier mentioned. Android Studio is the top IDE for developing mobile apps for the Android mobiles. Now the eligibility conditions for this particular program are that you should be at 10+2 or equivalent. In case you pass a 10th standard, then you must be having a 2 or 3 years diploma. Only then you will be in a position to get admission to this particular program. Over and above, one feature that is expected in any student who takes admission is that you need to have a laptop, you need to have a mobile, you need to have internet access. Of course, all these things are there in the title of the program itself, that it is a certificate program in mobile app development. So in case you want to develop the apps and other things, you need to have internet access, you need to have a mobile, you need to have a laptop, and all these things, and you should be in a position to carry out the instructions from the distance. All these things are some essential features expected from a student, which are not otherwise mentioned because the title itself reflects all these requirements. Now, the courses that are part of this particular program are BCS 091, that is the course code. You have nothing to do with that code, but the title is Introduction to Mobile Architecture. Then comes, in case you don't know much about the databases, you will be introduced to the databases in BCS I092, that is Introduction to Databases. Then we have BCS I093, you will be introduced to the Android. Then you have BCS I094, where you will be taught how to program using the Python programming language. Then we have one lab course, that is BCSL 091. It is a laboratory course that is having all the practical components of the Android, Python, and the databases. So the first course is exclusively theoretical. Then 3 courses are there. We have practical components there. Those practical components are included in the final laboratory course. Of course, there was a correction in the course codes. These are BCS 091, BCS 092, BCS 093, and BCS 094, and the final one is BCSL 091. Now, coming to the counseling sessions, that a total of 150 hours of machine time you will get. So the total number of theory sessions are 22. Then you have the total number of hours are 44. And the total number of practical counseling sessions are 50. Each session is of 3 hours. So you get a total of 150 hours. Okay, next slide.
So from certificate in mobile application development, we move to the Bachelor of Computer Applications. Now, Bachelor of Computer Application is one of our bachelor's degree program. In fact, it is the only bachelor's degree program which is on offer from School of Computer and Information Sciences, and it has attracted many participants in the past years. In fact, it is one of the popular programs, as the objective of this programs are, it opens a channel for admission for computing courses for students who have done the 10+2, so you can know about computer application development to a great extent. Further educational opportunities to go to master's programs like MCA, to get entry-level jobs in the field of information technology. In fact, many of our students were, after doing BCA program, were able to get entry-level jobs after this particular program. Now, syllabus highlights of this particular program are that the first year courses are aimed at skill development by teaching basic computing and communication skills. So there will be courses related to communication, there will be courses related to basic computing, which you will be studying in the first year. Second year is more focused on conceptual framework development, and third year provides hands-on implementation, right? Basically where the project work is part of it. So there are vast variety of courses which are being covered into the third year, and job-oriented courses with huge hands-on are in the third year, as well as other years also. And there are in total 39 courses are there, having a total credit of 99. Now, the first semester courses of BCA program include, it starts with foundation course in English. Now, this is very essential for many of the students who are coming from different backgrounds. So it gives you a flavor of the language, and basically this course talks about how do you communicate in English in various situations. Then a very important course on that is business organization, because ultimately you would be working in a business organization and maybe developing applications for business organization. Therefore, business organization course is finding its way into the first semester itself. Then we have a course on computer basics and PC software. Now, this course is basically introducing you to all the basic fundamental concepts, which includes the computer hardware, the computer software, and the communication. So it introduces to various technologies which are associated with computer hardware, various technologies of computer software, various applications which are there in computer software, different kinds of software like computer virus and all those software which are there. Then application software like office tools, project management tools, etc. And different kinds of software like operating systems, other system software, and so on and so forth. In addition, it talks about networking devices, TCP/IP protocol, and how internet has been implemented. Right. So this course is a detailed course which introduces you to computer fundamentals. Then there is a mathematics course in this particular course, and this mathematics course has been specially designed, keeping in mind that all those mathematical concepts which are required by computer science students are covered in BCS. And finally, there is a lab course. Lab course is of 2 credits and covers almost 60 hours of your work. And there will be, in fact, this is a two credit course, so it will be around 20 practical session, which is covering around 60 hours. About the counseling session, we will be talking about this particular thing a bit later. Then in the second semester, we will be covering accountancy. Now, as applications, we are talking about computer applications. So you need to know the domains in which computer applications are going to be utilized. And first domain in that category, what you did was business organization. And in the second semester, we discuss about the accountancy. Then we have a course in problem solving and programming. So this is your first course in programming. The fundamental course talks about a very brief input about programming, but then a formal programming language is introduced in MCS 011, where problem solving approaches as well as programming has been discussed, and C programming has been deliberated in this particular course. Then there is a very important course called Computer Organization and Assembly Language Programming. The objective of this course is to open up the computer system for you, like what exactly goes on inside the computer, how exactly computer is designed, what are the instruction sets of computer. Now, the advantage of doing this particular course is that you would be able to perform, in fact, able to utilize all the features of a programming language, especially related to bitwise programming, and you will be able to write assembly language programs which are very, very close to it. Machine language. A computer works on machine language. Therefore, these programs are much, much more efficient. So by using the C programming and assembly programming combination, you can design very efficient programs for different kinds of machine. The disadvantage of assembly language programming is that it is machine specific. However, C programming is generic programming language. So that combination is a really good combination for writing good programs at the system software level. So that is why this combination has been introduced into the second semester itself. Then you have a course on communication skills, which talks about primarily how you communicate and write using writing letters, how you communicate through oral means, and how you actually listen also. So all those skills are in this particular course. It's very important course that you go through these courses and actually start applying when you appear for different kinds of viva voce and discussion as far as subject-specific courses are concerned. Then you have a basic discrete mathematics course. Now this discrete mathematics course is only 2 credits. In fact, discrete mathematics has been divided into 2 smaller courses, one of 2 credits which is coming to the second semester, and then another discrete course has been given into Master of Computer Application. So no more discrete mathematics as far as BCA is concerned. Then these 4 courses are supported by lab courses, which include C language programming lab and assembly language programming lab. So these lab courses provide a lot of an opportunity for you to experience the actual implementations. Then in the third semester, once again, we have courses, theory as well as practical courses, a mix of these 2. the data and file structures is going to be very, very important course as far as computer science is concerned. And this is the first course into the third semester. Then there is another important course, Introduction to Database Management Systems. Now, database management systems are backbone of almost any application which you are going to develop today. So this is a very important course in that particular aspect. Then we have a course on systems analysis and design, which is in a sense precursors to software engineering, where you go through, like when you use data and file structures, when you use programming language, you are trying to solve simple problems, right? Single problems, in fact, maybe complex, but single problems. However, in system analysis and programming, you are trying to go to a particular system, analyzing various aspects of it, and trying to design a solution to various problems that can persist in a system. And system can be like banking system, right? So what are the different applications you can design in banking system, including performing transactions? Now, how you would be analyzing that particular system, what will be the intricacies of that system, and how you design a solution for that particular system, and then implement that particular system using database technologies and programming languages using data and file structures. That is the aspect, that is the hidden aspect of this particular course. So this course is going to give you an overview of problem systems solution in that particular sense. Then we have another course in programming in C++. C++ happen to be an object-oriented programming language, which is very fundamentally very, very popular programming language. It is much advanced than the whole programming paradigm from structured programming of C now has moved to object-oriented programming in C++. So this is going to give you a flavor of object-oriented programming, and the vehicle is going to be used as C++ programming language. Then these three lab courses are there, where you will be having C++ programming lab, you have data and file structure lab, and you have DBMS lab, which will be supporting these courses in a detailed way. The BCA fourth semester courses cover many different kinds of aspects. And first one of it is the statistical techniques, how you can use statistics in analyzing different data and data situations. So that is what you can learn as far as BCS 40 is concerned. Then object-oriented technologies and Java programming is part of this course, this particular semester. So you have learned object-oriented programming to some extent, but Java in C++ in the previous semester. In fourth semester, it will be further strengthened with the help of Java programming. So you are learning C, C++, and Java. Okay. Then there is a very fundamental course which is once again which can get you, like some students may be interested in that also, and that is computer networks. So fundamentals of computer networks are also covered in Bachelor of Computer Application fourth semester. Then we have algorithm design, introduction to algorithm design. Like in the previous semester, what you did was data and file structures. But how those algorithms can be designed and how various algorithms which can be designed efficiently is part of BCS 42. And then you have a lab course on internet concept and web design, Java programming, statistical technique lab, and algorithm design lab. So all these courses, computer science courses, are duly supported by practical components. Then in the BCA fifth semester, we have courses like Introduction to Software Engineering. Now, Introduction to Software Engineering is a bread and butter course. So because that is what is going to take you, like you are trying to learn the complete life cycle of development of the project. So it is after systems analysis and design, what are the additional things you are required to learn? So this is a wonderful course for that. Then network programming and network administration is once again over computer networking. From there, you move to network programming and network administration, where you would be doing certain programming for computer networks in the sense that for administration purposes. Then we have a course on web programming. This is another very important course in this particular semester, where you will be able to develop web-based application using JSP. Since you have learned Java, right? So JSP is the logical conclusion as far as web programming is concerned. So this particular course also talks about many other like HTML, XML, then JSP, right? So client-side scripting as well as server-side scripting, both these aspects of web programming have been covered in this particular course. And a very important course like computer-oriented numerical techniques, if you have to solve mathematical problems, right, integration, differentiation, and all those kinds of problems, how you can utilize computer to do so. So this computer-oriented numerical techniques allows you to learn and implement those types of algorithms so that you can use computers to solve difficult mathematical problems, including interpolation, differentiation, integration, right, like that. Then finally, we have in this particular semester, the theory courses, the business communication. Now, business communication, once again, is how you will be communicating, how you will be preparing your CV, how you will be communicating to various organizations. So this is the right time to prepare your curriculum, your CV. So that is why this course is talking to you, how you would be communicating, how you would be writing, and how you would be studying about a particular business. Okay. Then we have lab courses like lab courses on network programming, lab courses on web programming, and computer-oriented numerical techniques. So these 5th semester courses are also supported by various lab courses. And finally, we in the BCA 6th semester course, we have an course in e-commerce. E-commerce is a very important course because of this particular the usage of this technology to a great extent. And this particular course talks about various models of e-commerce, how it can be utilized and how it can be developed, although it is not going to make you develop an application, but it is going to talk about various applications and the models of e-commerce. Then we have a course on operating system concept and management, which is related to like how you can, I mean, this is going to be more practical oriented course about the operating system and how you can manage a computer, typical operating network oriented operating system. Then there is a lab course supported over here. And finally, there is a project. Now, there is a great importance associated to this particular project because the last final semester project, in fact, this particular project is going to be of 8 credits, and 8 credit is equivalent to around 240 hours of work, which are expected out of you. Now, what you do in a project is primarily you start taking a commercial problem, right? Maybe for just like a bank, right? And try to identify various systems in the bank and choose one of those systems, okay? For example, if let's not talk about bank, let's say university system, then probably an admission system of the university can be your project, okay? Now, in admission system, there can be different kinds of programs. So you need to keep information about the programs. Each program will have courses, each program will have fee, each program will have duration, right? And as far as IGNOU model is concerned, there are different regional centers where admission takes place. So this is going to be a pretty complex problem. And this is the kind of problem which we expect you to do. So first step in project is going to be that you analyze that particular problem in the sense that you are able to make analytical documents, which we say in the ER diagram, data flow diagram. Let's not talk about them in detail. But first you will be analyzing the system. Then you will be designing the database, designing the interfaces, that is the interfaces through which you will be communicating to that particular application, the screens which you can think of, okay, and the data structure which is going to be supporting that particular application. Then you would be implementing it, and you can choose any of the programming language which you have selected, or any web-oriented programming language like JSP or ASP, whatever you feel comfortable with, or you have acquired that particular skill with. So you can use that particular vehicle, and then you are going to test this particular system. There is a Viva VOC attached to the project course, and project you are required to appear at the time. You are required to submit the project report, and there is a Viva as far as on that particular project. So project is a very important course, and when you go to industry, the very first question which will be asked to you about your interview is going to be on this particular course only. So this is in nutshell about the project course. Then number of sessions which you will be going through as far as BCA are concerned. In BCA, every semester, in the first semester, you will be undertaking 31 theory counseling sessions. These sessions are listed. I think you can refer to various program guides, but in total, you will be going through around 332 hours of theory counseling sessions and around 510 hours of practical counseling sessions. So if you, and for every practical session, you will be getting a practical booklet, okay, and which basically gives you the problems which are to be attempted during a particular practical session. So it gives you enough input to utilize that particular practical session very gainfully. And if you use the time allocated to you for theory as well as practical, and you study well, I think you will be gaining a lot of knowledge about the computer application development. One of the basic requirements for BCA program happens to be that 70% attendance is compulsory for lab courses. As far as there are certain sessions which are given for assignment implementation also as far as theory courses are concerned. So this condition is not applicable for those courses in nutshell. So this is in general about the Bachelor of Computer Application program, and now we move to the.
Sir, sorry for interruption. Before we move on to the next details, I would like to ask one question, sir, because we have seen many students who are facing a little bit of problem in doing BCA projects especially and finding proper guides. So kindly suggest who could be the guide for the project guide for this BCA students?
See, basically, yes, they need to have a project guide, but most of the effort goes by the student alone. Student, first of all, in case they have done their first 4 semesters properly, they can approach the industry for a project. Okay, industry always entertains students who do not have a backlog and have scored well in their semesters, earlier semesters for project, and in case they do project properly, they may even get an absorption. So when industry gives a project, normally industry gives the guide also. So they'll get guidance, they'll get the project, and in case they do the project to the satisfaction of the company, and if they do Viva and make the project report properly to the satisfaction of IGNOU, they'll pass the BCA. There are also good chances of themselves getting absorbed by the industry. Now, suppose take some students who have backlog and industry doesn't entertain them easily. Then they have to select a problem by themselves. They have to get a guide by themselves. All these things are there. Now, how to get a problem? As already Dr. Akshay said, student admission system, okay, hospital management. There are many things that are happening around the world. They can take anything for automation. They can themselves approach. They can do the system study. They can do the project. Over and above, there is one more method also. Like along with the course material, inside the course material, we also give the reference books. Now, these reference books are having project problems at the end of each chapter. So these are pretty complicated problems which really qualify to be a project. So a student can directly select such problem and start working on it, but at the same time, they need to have a guide so they can always get in touch with their counselors. And if the counselor himself is eligible and fulfills the eligibility conditions, the counselor can act as guide. So the project is something which is very, very important component. When they apply for a job, industry will ask what project you have done, And it is also important that they don't have backlog, so that industry is having a confidence that the students are very highly disciplined, they study well, they cleared their papers in time, they have done a good project, hence can be considered for the placement.
Thank you so much, sir.
May I add one more thing? As Professor Suresh talked about, that student himself is responsible for the project, right? Now, the important point, what we mean to say here is that when you have completed few courses, right? Like at least you should be completing first 3 to 4 semester courses. I mean, you will be doing project in the 6th semester, but many students, without even completing courses of first and second semester, try to attempt project. Then who is going to put you into a live project? Nobody is no industry is going to take risk of putting you to any kind of live project or any project development if you do not know. So the first thing first, enhance your skills of programming languages, enhance your skills of database management system, systems analysis and design, and software engineering. At least these courses should be enhanced, studied well, and then you approach industry. Some people like project guide, then it makes sense. Otherwise, how you are going to get a good project, right? So this is what is the fundamental.
Thank you so much, sir. So can we proceed further?
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Akshay for that elaborate introduction to the Bachelor of Computer Applications, which is one of the flagship programs of School of Computers and Information Sciences. And now I will introduce you to the Postgraduate Diploma in Computer Applications. This is a one-year program. So the broad objective of the Postgraduate Diploma in Computer Applications program is to prepare the graduate students for careers in software industry. And the eligibility criteria are that any bachelor's degree of minimum 3-year duration from a recognized university and mathematics as one of the subject at 10+2 or graduation level. That is one eligibility condition. So you need to have mathematics at 10+2. In case you don't have, you should at least have it at the graduation level. Only then you will be in a position to apply. And most importantly, your bachelor's degree should be of at least 3 years duration. Then another eligibility condition is that any bachelor's degree of minimum 3 years duration from a recognized university and doesn't have mathematics as one of the subject at 10+2 or graduation level. These students are required to successfully complete BCS 012 as the bridge course. So here you don't have mathematics in 10+2 or at graduation. So you need to do one extra course. So the only difference is that you need to do one more course. So at the nutshell, if you are a graduate, yes, you are eligible to do the postgraduate diploma in computer applications. In some cases, they have to do BCS 012. In some cases, they don't need. Now, the first semester courses of this particular diploma are programming in C and Python. So you'll be learning 2 programming languages which are very, very popular. Python is very popular programming language as on date. C is a traditional language, and this is the language which is being taught as the first programming language since ages. So programming in C and Python, 2 programming languages you'll be learning in the first semester itself. Then the structure of the computer is covered in the computer organization. Then you have operating systems. Operating systems is the most important software without which nothing runs on your computer. There are many operating systems, and we mostly cover the Windows operating system and the Linux. So all theoretical aspects are covered in the operating systems course, whose code is MCS 203. Then comes the lab course, Windows and Linux lab. So the theoretical components in MCS 203 are covered in this particular course. Theoretical components are covered in MCS 203 and the practical components are covered in the MCSL 204. And finally, the practical component of MCS 201 is covered in the MCSL 205, which is the C and Python lab. So in total, we have 5 courses in the first semester, 3 theory courses and 2 lab courses. Then in the second semester, you'll be learning the object-oriented programming using Java. So this is a third programming language you are learning in PGDCA. Then you are introduced to the databases, MCS 207, database management systems. Then the most important course is data structures and algorithms, which is the foundation to do good programming. And then you have the lab component of MCS 208, that is MCSL 209, data structures and algorithms lab. And then finally you have the lab components of MCS 206 and 207 in MCSL 210, which are DBMS and Java lab. So you'll be learning 3 programming languages in the postgraduate diploma in computer applications, apart from very, very important core courses, which will enable you to do any advanced course later. Now coming to the counseling sessions, in the first semester, you have 18 theory counseling sessions and 40 practical counseling sessions. And again in the semester 2, you have 18 theory counseling sessions and 40 practical counseling sessions. And each theory session is of 2 hours. So total each semester you have 36 hours theory, and each semester you have 240 hours practical, because each practical counseling session is of 3 hours. So total you have 116 counseling sessions. For the practical counseling, 75% attendance is compulsory for each lab course. And one important thing is that in the case of theory counseling, no attendance is compulsory. Okay. आपको कुछ?
One more question I wanted to ask, sir. So, regarding job prospects, if a student complete BCA or say PGDCA, what kind of job they are expected to get in the market?
BCA separately, PGDCA separately. That's what you mean.
Yes,
okay.
yes. Suppose only one course is done, not BCA, only PGDCA somebody does. Or what kind of job prospects are there?
See, first thing is, if he is doing PGDCA, he is already a graduate. Okay, that advantage is there.
Yes.
Now, in PGDCA, he is learning 3 programming languages. Okay, that is a big strength. He is learning Python, very, very popular programming language, C language, the most traditional language, which can work at machine level. And then you have Java, about which nobody needs to say. It is the internet programming language. It is the mobile app programming language. It is having many capabilities. So in case he does very well in these courses and he completes PGDCA, he can enter as a programmer. For the position of programmer, developer, he can definitely contest, and there are very good chances that he gets a job.
The PGDCA, if you see, is after graduation. So ultimately, you should have a good graduation degree. And if you have good graduation degree, let's say you have done graduation in commerce, right? Now, if you are getting a job in that commerce related area, the knowledge of computer which you may obtain from PGDCA is going to be helping a lot, because it is, as Professor Suresh said, you are doing 3 programming languages, right? So you would be able to develop some basic programs related to that particular domain or the graduation domain which you have really worked in. So it is going to be, I mean, one particular job prospect is this. Second job prospect is that you are able to get better jobs in the domain in which you are working. So it is going to give you a lot of good programming skills, database skills, operating system skills, and these are in-depth knowledge. In-depth, I mean, you will be covering this particular things. So the chances of your employability into your domain are going to be much, much better than any other kind of, normal graduates. That is what is another aspect of doing postgraduate diploma in computer applications. Over to you, sir.
Okay.
Acha, now I may forget, so I am thinking that I should mention here something which I mentioned few days back to Akshay also. Newly, some countries have started working holiday visa for young adults. That is, if your age is 30 or less than 30, you can apply for a working holiday visa and stay for a year or 2 abroad looking for a job. So you can get a job And after that, your visa can be converted into a work visa. Until now, normally, you need to get a job first, you need to get a sponsor, then only you can go. But for youngsters, this facility is started by some countries like UK is there, New Zealand. I think there are some more countries. So one advantage is that suppose you have done your BCA very well or PGDCA very well, then if you can afford, you can even apply for a visa for which you don't need anything except your degrees, and you can go abroad and directly apply for jobs there in top companies. And in case you click, your visa can be converted, or maybe you have to apply afresh for a work visa. This is a boon for particularly computer science graduates, because many jobs are there in the area of information technology, both in India as well as overseas. So now I will start introducing you to one more flagship program of our department, which is Master of Computer Applications. The program objective is that to prepare graduate students for productive careers in software industry, academia, and research. So all the three are divergent areas, and you can target anything when you complete MCA from IGNOU. One very important thing which I would like to mention here is that our MCA program is approved by the All India Council for Technical Education. So it is an AICTE approved MCA program. It's a 2-year program. It's a revised program. Last year we revised it. Okay, and over and above, IGNOU itself is a NAC A++ accredited university. So you are doing an AICTE approved MCA from a NAC A++ accredited university with revised syllabus. And when we go through the courses, you will see many latest courses in our MCA program, which you will not find in many universities, because those universities did not yet revise their programs. The eligibility criteria for the MCA program are that you must have passed BCA or BSc Computer Science or BSc in IT, or a bachelor's degree in Computer Science and Engineering, or its equivalent, with at least 50% marks in the bachelor's degree, 45% marks in case of candidates belonging to reserved category. That is one eligibility. Another eligibility is that any bachelor's degree of minimum 3 years duration from a recognized university with at least 50% marks, again 45% marks in the case of reserved category, and mathematics as one of the subject at 10+2 or graduation level. In addition, these students are required to register and successfully complete 2 bridge courses. They are MCS 201, Programming in C and Python, and MCS 208, Data Structures and Algorithms of IGNOU, along with the Master of Computer Applications program. BCS 0129. Okay. So the medium of instruction of this program is English. So now, apart from the 2 eligibility conditions that I have mentioned, there is one more eligibility, is that you should be having a bachelor's degree of minimum 3 years duration from a recognized university with at least 50% marks. And suppose you don't have mathematics as one of the subjects at 10+2 level or graduation level, then you need to do 3 bridge courses. That includes one BCS 012, MCS 201, and MCS 208. So in total, there are 3 categories. Now suppose you are a graduate, okay, and you want to do MCA. And if you are a BCA or a BSc IT or a BSc CS or a BSc in Computer Science and Engineering with 50% marks, any person should have 50% marks. So that you should be a graduate, you should have 50% marks. If you qualify in these 2, then comes the degrees, what I mentioned, BCA, BSc IT, BSc in Computer Science and Engineering, Basic Computer Science, then you can directly getting the MCA admission, and it's 2 years. Now, suppose you are not a graduate in one of the mentioned degrees just now, but you have a mathematics at 10+2 level or graduation level. Then apart from MCA, along with MCA, you have to do 2 more courses. They are MCS 201 and MCS 208. Now, suppose you fulfill everything except that you don't have mathematics at 10 plus 2 or mathematics level. Then you should do a total of 3 bridge courses along with MCA. They are BCS 012, MCS 201, and MCS 208. So these are the 3 categories of eligibility conditions for admission to MCA program. The medium of instruction is English. The minimum duration is 2 years, and the maximum duration is 4 years. You will get opportunity to take admission twice in a year, in January for January session as well as for July session. Now, in the first year, there are core courses. For them, you need to have some basic knowledge of programming, operating systems, database technology, computer organization, and other core courses. In the second year, you have specialized courses. We'll be taking you through the list. And then also you have one important component, that is project work. In the semester 1, you will be learning the design and analysis of algorithms, discrete mathematics, software engineering, professional skills and ethics, security and cyber laws, design and analysis of algorithms and web design lab, and the software engineering lab. So there are 2 lab courses and there are 5 theory courses. And even you are getting a bit of mathematics here in the form of discrete mathematics. And then also you have professional skills and ethics, which is very important when you are entering the industry. In the second semester, you have data communications and computer networks, object-oriented analysis and design, web technologies, data warehousing and data mining. And then you have 2 labs. One is object-oriented analysis and design and web technologies lab, and then computer networks and data mining lab. If you see, these courses are a bit advanced when compared to the semester 1. Here, we are speaking about the 4G networks, 5G networks. So not those are covered. The fundamentals of these networks are covered in the data communications course, and web technology is covered. So and data mining, data warehousing, all these are latest areas. In the semester 3, you see the most advanced courses. You have artificial intelligence and machine learning, which is hot cake as on date. Then you have accounting and financial management. So you'll be able to apply IT to accountancy and financial areas, management areas. So you can become a sort of expert with both domain knowledge as well as the knowledge of the concerned software. Then you have data science and big data. Then you have cloud computing and Internet of Things. And you have 2 lab courses, that is artificial intelligence and machine learning lab and cloud and data science lab. Semester 3 is the most advanced semester among all the 4 semesters of the MCA program. Then in the final semester, you have the digital image processing and computer vision. This is again a very, very advanced course. You know, the face recognition, all these things are happening nowadays in the case of both laptops, mobiles, and many things. All these things fall under this particular course. Then you have mobile computing. This is another important course. And over and above, the most important course is project. MCA project is very, very important. We strongly recommend that students start doing the project in industry to the maximum extent possible. The same things apply, whatever we have already said for the BCA project here also. You're an MCA, if you do your project well, you will get almost placement instantly by the industry, provided you have done well in all the remaining semesters and you have done a good project, and then you have the different features to work in an organization, such as being able to work in a team, have good communication skills, have good ethics, good learning capabilities. All these things, if you have, job is almost guaranteed when you complete your project. So this is what I would like to speak about the courses. Now, the total number of counseling sessions are that in the first semester, you have 24 theory counseling and then 40 practical counseling sessions. In the semester 2 and semester 3 also, the numbers are the same. Again, the same rule applies. Each theory is of 2 hours. Each practical session is of 3 hours. So in all the first 3 semesters, each semester you have 48 3 hours and 120 practical hours. And 75% attendance is again compulsory in each and every practical lab course. And in the final semester, there are 16 theory courses, which convert to 32 hours theory. So 12 plus 4 theory sessions, that is 16 sessions, and then equivalent is 32 theory hours. The evaluation methodology is that you have 1 assignment and 1 term end examination in each of the courses. In the theory, the 30% is for assignment and 70% is for the term and examination. The same configuration is for the practical and lab. And finally, for the project, 50 marks are for Viva and 150 marks are for project report. Now, whatever we are able to cover in today's session, we have covered. But for again, any updates in the information and for more information, for complete information, you can go through the common prospectus that is available on the IGNOU website. Go to IGNOU website, that is ignou.ac.in. Then go to the student zone. Then you go to the admission announcement. There you will be able to find the prospectus. Then we have 2 admission portals. You can click on any of them based on your choice. Go through the link properly before clicking on the link, and you take admission for the MCA program through the portal. So this is all we would like to share about the associates programs. And now over to Dr. Abhimanyu Kumar, who is instrumental in taking this initiative and letting know the entire world about the computer programs of School of Computers and Information Sciences of IGNOU.
Thank you so much, sir. I thank both of you for giving your valuable time and taking this session for our learners. And they are actually very important for us, as we all know. Without them, we do not exist as a university. We depend on our learners. So thank you so much for giving such important information. Now I would like to give one more important information to our learners, those who are interested to take admissions. As Sir has told, you can go to our website and you can apply for fresh admission. There is a link available. And for the last date for the admission is fresh admission for July is going on, July 2022. Last date is 31st July. And those who are existing, our existing students, for them, they have to do register. And for registration, there is last date for 15th July. So now I like to, since the time is not permitting us to go further, and once again I like to thank both of you. And learners, it is for your information and that we will be continuing this program every Wednesday at 11 o'clock through this Facebook live session only. Thank you so much. I am Dr. Abhimanyu Kumar, Deputy Director from SRD, saying thank you and bye.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you.